There are times and seasons in our lives when things feel really busy and it feels like we're juggling everything. And I think as riders, it can be really frustrating because so often we feel that not only our riding and our training ends up going backwards, but so too does our connection with our horse. And in fact, just riding tends to slip on down the old priority list, sometimes right to the very bottom. So for those times, I want to give you a 10-minute riding plan that you can use so that it doesn't have to be this way. And not only will this help keep you connected to your horse, but you might actually come out the other side of that busy season with enough momentum to carry you nicely into the new season where you do have time to spend riding. Okay, let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I work with riders from all over the world, helping them to go from doing the endless circle and the boring work to actually having a plan, riding with intention, and creating a partnership that they love with their horse. So, what is the 10-minute riding reset? Well, it's kind of exactly what it sounds like. I really think that if you can take 10 minutes, to be really intentional, it is going to actually help you to reset not only you and your horses work together, but also just your whole life in general. Because hey, we do know that as riders, if we find time to ride in a way that feels productive and that feels like we're actually achieving something, it kind of has this lovely positive ripple effect to everything else, doesn't it? Okay, so with that being said, what I would say to you regarding this 10-minute reset is that you need to be intentional. It is that focus that really makes this work. Now, one of the ways that I see riders becoming a bit, wishy-washy is when they're working in too big of an area, okay? So when things get big, so if you think of like the size of the arena or the size of the field, okay? Or when you think about the length of time, so if you've got 2 hours, okay? Things can get, they can kind of unravel very fast and you end up just kind of wandering about. So if you are worried about that, I'm going to suggest first and foremost creating a smaller area to ride in to help keep you focused and to not become so overwhelmed, okay? There's something about having those actual physical boundaries, okay, for you and your horse. And I'm talking like if you're used to riding in a big jumping arena, going back to maybe a 20 by 40, maybe a 20 by 20, okay? So a nice small, like a lunging sized arena, a nice small little space to keep the two of you focused. It kind of helps it almost like creates a bit of a bubble for the pair of you. And I know that seems strange, but it does. It really does help the two of you to stay together and kind of engaged in the whole process, working together as a team, a partnership, okay? And then my second recommendation before I get into the actual 10-minute riding reset would be to switch things up between groundwork, lunging, long lining, and riding. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is that you are going to try and do this as often as possible throughout the next 4 weeks, but you're not just going to do the same thing every single day. We're going to switch it up. We're going to come at it from different perspectives, different approaches. And in doing that, you've now got all of this different information coming in that's going to help you to really, really understand what needs a little bit more attention and work as you then go into the new year, okay? Or into the next month. It doesn't matter when you're listening to this. Could be into the next month. So all that being said, you have 10 minutes. What are you going to do? I would say number 1 is 1 to 2 minutes of mindful walking. Now, what do I mean by mindful walking? I mean really, really sinking down and really connecting with your horse, okay? I think then 1 to 2 minutes of rhythm setting, okay? So we're going to play with the rhythm. I'm going to get into more of this just now, okay? Each of these. Then 2 to 3 minutes of basic patterns. So whatever pattern you choose. I do love a good serpentine, but it could be circles, figures of eights, whatever, okay? Changes of rein. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, not at all. Working on the quarter line, working on the across the diagonals. There's lots of different patterns you can use, but get intentional about what you're going to use, okay? And then 2 to 3 minutes of one simple focus. Okay, so this is actually like the quote unquote real work. Okay, so it could be maybe your seat, it could be transitions, it could be bends, flexions. Okay, there's lots of different things again you could work on there. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, Lorna, like really, because I know it's not very it's not fancy, is it? No, not at all. But you know what? It is really effective. And it works because there's no time for any wandering and nonsense. You've 10 minutes. You have to dial it in. And again, if that feels like, whew, Lorna, I don't know, make the place you're riding, make the area you're riding smaller. But I do think put up physical boundaries, not just in a corner of something. Like even putting ground poles around is going to help you do that, okay? It's also going to remove all of the overwhelm about making a decision about what to work on. When you've got 10 minutes and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and this. There you go. Decision made. Carry on. And it's going to allow you to end those 10 minutes feeling like you've actually achieved something instead of maybe defeated or guilty that you did not do anything at all. Now, what you shouldn't do when you are taking this 10-minute ride, and does every ride in December have to be this? No, not at all, okay? Obviously, if you have time for longer rides or different rides or trail rides or whatever, okay, go ahead. But I'm just talking about the days where you're feeling tested regarding your abilities to get it all done. So your 10-minute ride is not about, on the whole testing thing, testing your horse, okay? It's not the time to suddenly decide, you know what, we're going to try a flying change today. No, that's not what this is for, okay? It's also not for trying to squash like a 40-minute training session into 10 minutes. That's not what it's for at all, okay? If you're feeling stressed and rushed doing this, no, go back to point number 1, yeah? Connecting with the horse in the walk for the first 1 to 2 minutes, okay? So it's really, really important that you are coming to this knowing you've only got 10 minutes and committing internally in your head, committing to the fact that you've got 10 minutes and you're going to make it count, but you're not going to rush. It's not going to be like raced trying to get through this, okay? That tension that we often bring when we're feeling stressed by all the thoughts in our head telling us that we are lacking time. That tension is very often the thing that really, really puts a negative influence onto the work that you and your horse are doing. So leave that. You've got 10 minutes, you're going to make the most of them. Okay. And then I also think this is not about perfection. This is not about doing everything perfectly. This is about keeping things moving, okay? The other days where you have more time, and there will be days like that in December. Like, I don't think that every single day is going to be absolutely chaotic. And you know what? Even if it is, that's fine. Keep going with these 10 minutes, okay? But the other days, that's where you can like work on something to really, to try and get it right. But, I'm always talking about hammering on things. Nobody likes it when somebody's hammering on about something. And I bet your horse feels the same. But yeah, I think that it's really important from just that mindset perspective to have that clear in your head before you get started. So this kind of really simple 10-minute intentional ride is going to keep you and your horse going forward. It's going to reinforce positive habits. Remember, we had to set that intention, okay? So you're going to reinforce positive habits. You're keeping the partnership, the teamwork element, you're keeping it alive even when things are really busy. You're touching base, you're with your horse, you're doing something, okay? And it really is going to help you and your horse to avoid that slide, that like kind of, I don't have time and I haven't had time for the last 3 weeks and I'm not going to have time for the next 4 weeks. So I'm just going to give up and I'll start again. No, you can continue. It may not be exactly what you want to be doing, but you can continue to get things done and to move forward in a way that's going to help you and your horse. And remember, keep this in mind. Your horse doesn't know how long the ride is going to be, okay? He doesn't know that going into it. He is just going to remember and to keep working with the fact that the two of you are connected and you're doing something together. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. We sometimes, we see everything through our perspective. It's really, really important to sometimes flip that and to look at your horse's side as well. So I would suggest that you kind of choose your 10 minutes. I don't like, not just say today I'm going to ride 10 minutes. That's a bit, wishy-washy. Let's get like, okay, I'm going to ride between 7 and 9 a.m. or I'm going to ride before I do the evening chores at the yard, okay? Or whatever it is for you, okay? Or after lunch, or I'm going to take 10 minutes during lunch, or whatever, okay? And then choose a weekly focus. I think this is important. That way, even if you ride only twice, you put this 10-minute, and I'm saying, of course, ride to include all of the things I mentioned earlier, groundwork, lunging, long lining, the whole lot, okay? But even if you ride only twice during that week, the fact that you have a specific focus for it means that you're going to keep building the momentum. So it could be like working on the rhythm, it could be working on transitions, your half halt, your weight aids, straightness, bend, connection, whatever, okay? There's loads of different things you could be working on, like loads and loads and loads. It's endless, the amount of things you could be working on, okay? So it really does come down to just choosing one and then helping you to move that forward. And then just track it. And I am a big believer in the tracking, hey? And in fact, if you're wondering how to make that so much easier, the previous 2 months inside of Connection, I've been talking about how to use AI as your little tracking buddy to keep you going and to make those riding reviews and then the progress tracking so much easier. So all of the recordings are in there, and we've actually got another live training next week on this. So that if you're interested in finding out more about that, it's all there inside of Connection as well. So what am I going to suggest you do? First and foremost, go over and get the 15 minutes or less freebie that I've created for you. There are loads of ideas in there for groundwork, for riding, for all the things, okay? And go get that and help that to help you to begin to inspire yourself with regards to what you're going to do and what's possible for you and your horse. Create a smaller place to ride. I cannot stress this enough, okay? Don't find yourself with 10 minutes in a massive arena, because you're just going to do 2 laps and then it's finished, okay? So you want to make sure that you've got this small, focused place to ride. Think of it like you're creating the bubble for you and your horse to keep the two of you working together. And then if you are looking for short, sweet, to the point rides, Connection is full of 12-minute, I know, okay, but 12-minute audio horse riding lessons that you can use to help you and your horse to move forward. And as I said, we are in a whole deep dive into the half halt for the last quarter of 2025, and all of that is in there available for you as well. Okay, you can find all the details for the 15 minutes or less freebie over at stridesforsuccess.com/15. It's the number 15, 15. And then you can find all the details about Connection over at stridesforsuccess.com/join. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Have a lovely week. Keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.